Might work now. All right. Apologize for the delay. Just give me one more moment, please. Says we're live streaming, so I will go forward. Welcome, everybody. It's Ian Blackburn. It's Wednesday night. Time to zoom into wine. I hope everyone's doing well. We've got some amazing wine to talk about this evening. As we do almost every week, we go around the world and taste different grapes, talk with different people, visit different countries. And tonight we're focused on Pinot Noir, and we've got six of the very best to taste with our participants here. If you're watching on one of the channels, these wines are sold through Merchant of Wine, and I just want to share the information about these wines and get you as excited about them as I am. And man, we set out to put a couple of special guests on tonight. We have a lot of them. So hold on for the ride. We've got a lot to get through. Some very special visitors we recorded with, and I'm going to share all that stuff with you in just a second. But tonight we're talking about Pinot Noir, and if you've ever been in a vineyard, the Pinot cluster, that those look fairly large, but they can really be pretty teeny depending on the clone, the type, where it's growing. And Pinot Noir has this incredible thin skin that really likes to be grown somewhere near the ocean where it's cool, foggy, something like Carneros, something like Santa Rita Hills, something like Oregon, even Burgundy, where it could rain 200 days a year. And so this variety is a grape that we make a number of different wines like champagne from, and it's for I remember for the longest period of time we just didn't do it very well in Los Angeles or in Southern California, the New World. We really struggled with the grape variety, and we finally figured it out. And I really attribute the accomplishment of making better Pinot Noir, not just because of mentality and wisdom, but we got away from using big, giant $1 million machines that we were using to make Cabernet and Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc and Zinfandel and anything else that we could put in the machine. Pinot Noir did not like that. Pinot Noir requires more hand work and a little bit more sense of appreciation for the delicacy of Pinot Noir. And wow, did we compensate once we figured that out. And now we are making some just amazing stuff. All over the world has benefited from that idea. So we're going to start with our first wine down in South Africa, a winery that we have featured at different wines throughout time because this winery just does it so well. And South Africa just does not get enough play in the wine world. Luckily, it's still such an incredible value proposition for us. But this is like number one, the very best wine in South Africa, the very best Pinot producer, and this wine's under $70, maybe by a considerable amount. We're in Walker Bay, very close to Hermanus, and this is a producer that got started a long time ago, 1994. I was there in the early 2000s. I got to walk this property with Anthony Hamilton Russell, and he has been a guest on our show a number of times through the years. This is a look from the top of the hill as you look down onto the ocean. That's how close the ocean is. You could see his vineyards. There's literally just one hill between the ocean and his vineyards. So he's got that amazing bay. When he was there, he was first. And now he's got a lot of locals that are making wine around him. And Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, he just has an amazing touch. So that's what we're starting off with. I'd love to get it in your glass. There's Owen's review. I'm going to taste it with you. The brilliant 22 Hamilton Russell. Shorten that up there. Now I can read it. Highly nuanced, stunning rendition of this winemaker, Emil Ross. There he is. Sourced from their estates in the Emmen and Arden. This offers kumquat zest. Okay, that's very specific. Not sure how many times you've zested a kumquat, but I grew up with a kumquat tree and, orange peel. Black truffle crudo, it says. Well, it's getting very specific, but let's say black truffle or forest floor or mushroom. Um, the nose alongside shades of pomegranate seed and damp earth. The palate is laden with minerality, showing smooth mouthfeel, glorious sense of length. Enjoy the stunner now and over the next 15 years. This is the 2022. It's absolutely something you can enjoy now. And it's absolutely a benchmark wine. It gets perennial placement in the top 100 wines of the world by Spectator, Wine Enthusiast, and others. I think in a blind tasting, wines have gotten so good that the markers for places have become sometimes they're a little more pronounced, sometimes they're a little more focused. Like it's standing out. What I'm saying is the wine usually, if it's from a place like South Africa, there might be something in that glass that just says South Africa. This is just great. It has polish. It's lower in alcohol. I'm going to tell you, 13.5. I'm not sure I would place it off the nose at South Africa. I just don't know how I'd get there. But I'd hopefully, when we taste in our studies, we sweep, and we should mention South Africa, as like, oh, this could be South Africa, New Zealand, Oregon, or a place in Burgundy. Quality here is so good, and the tension so beautiful there, so balanced. I love the nose. I think it just plays with all the right instruments, and it's just showing remarkably well. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It is $60, 58.95. I think this wine continues to edge up a little bit at a time, but I think it's gonna be the cheapest wine we're gonna taste tonight. And if it's not, it's dollar for dollar, just hard to beat it worldwide. Um, and you could certainly spend 3 times as much in Burgundy and not get as much joy. That's for sure. All right, my friends, lots to get to. So I'm going to move into wine number two. And this is special Bodega Chakra. That's our number two wine. We're in Argentina, Patagonia. And yes, I got my friend Piero Incisa del Roqueta in the middle of harvest got on the Zoom with us. So let's watch this. I'm so excited to Zoom with you guys. This is just such a fun thing that you guys bless us with a little moment here. You guys are in harvest. Oh my God. It's February 10th, harvest time.
I know. First vineyard Jean-Marc picked for the whites was February 1st. So yes, we're 10 days into the vineyard, into the harvest.
Well, every time I see people that went with us to Argentina and we got to come see you guys in Patagonia, it's the first thing out of their mouth. I can't believe that visit to Patagonia. It was incredible. Rocio, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ian.
It was great. And the wines continue to do amazing things. Piero, we're going to talk about Bodega Chakra, your project, your home in Patagonia. You're an amazing man of wine, and we are so fortunate to be able to talk to Piero and Chiesa della Rocchetta. A friend of mine, he lived in Los Angeles for a while, went to Pepperdine. He loved Pinot. He searched the world for a great site. He found some old vine material in Patagonia. He invested heavily in this plot of land. He rehabilitated the vines. He
Yes.
partnered with Jean-Marc Rouleau on the white wine project. Piero makes the Pinot Noir, and Lunita is the wine that I've included. Now, I could have picked any of your wines, Piero, but we have this beautiful Lunita 23 and in good supply. My other selections are getting a little small, but this is one of the top scoring wines of last year. And for those that don't know where Patagonia is, it is pretty far south. It's exactly 12 hours by car ride, I found out. When we visited, the airline went on strike, so we got a van to drive us back to Buenos Aires. 12 hours, Piero.
Now I remember.
Lucy is laughing at you.
She
was laughing at me too. Don't worry. She laughs at everybody. We're not used to it.
We were playing Name That Tune in the van. We had a fun time. It was a road trip. It was great. But we flew into New Quinn. We drove out to your place. It's beautiful. The vineyards are now completely surrounded with these beautiful trees. What are those trees called?
Poplars.
Poplars. I gotta
Yeah.
remember that. And they basically block some wind. They create.
Yeah, it's a multi-function tool for us farmers in the sense that we're in a sunken valley in the middle of a desert, which prior to that was where the Atlantic met the Pacific. And then once the Andes, the tectonic plate shifted, creating the Andes, the oceans receded. And then a few million years later, when Italian and Spanish immigrants came to populate the country, they planted poplar trees everywhere to protect their crop. So it generates like a wind shield, but also increased shade. And as a byproduct of that, lowers the temperatures in the vineyards a little bit.
Now, Piero, you're farming biodynamic. We visited the chicken.
We are certified organic and biodynamic. One of the trademark of the winery is that all of our vineyards are Massal selection. Everything is ungrafted. And so we don't have any American rootstock. Everything is pre-phylloxera.
And clonal material is?
Well, there is no clone. The beauty of where we are is that our ecosystem is free of pests, disease, and bacteria. Our humidity is very low. So there is no chemicals in our vineyards. We don't have to spray at all. We don't even need to use copper, which is accepted by Organic and Biodynamic Association. So there's no use of heavy metals in our soils, but also no use of chemicals. And everything is pre-phylloxera, so it's on its own rootstock. The selection is Massal. We have no clones. So each plant is got its own individual character. And this is something that is very positive for us because it enhances the immune system of the vineyard. That means that if you have disease, you're maybe just one vine can die, not the whole vineyard. And also it adds complexity to the wines because it's like having a family full of different relatives where it's not just a family of twins, or it doesn't make sense what I'm saying. So every single plant has got its own genetic
And these are
uniqueness.
vines that you found there,
These are vines that were planted by Italian immigrants.
right?
In this case, Lunita means a small moon, was the name of a horse that we used to work our soils. It was a beautiful white horse. Is a vineyard that was planted in 1945. I was born in 1967, so this is not of my making. It's a unique plot in the sense that Lunita soil composition is the only farm that we own that is 100% silt. So the characteristics of this wine are maybe closer to what a traditional interpretation or expression of classical varietal of Pinot. It's a little bit. It's a wine that is complex, yet is the texture is it's quite silky. Is a little bit slightly darker cherry. It's very fresh. We ferment this wine with stems, so it's a whole cluster fermentation. And typically the alcohol content is around 12% to 12.5. While it seems to be light in alcohol, is very textured and complex. And the aging of the wine is 100% in cement because cement has no porosity, and we want to preserve all of these most delicate, flavorful subtleties of the expression of this vineyard. It's a small production because the vineyard is a small plot, and so it's 2 hectares. But because the vineyard is so old, it produces more like a hectare. The older the vine are or the vineyard is, it behaves like an older person. A person that is 90 years old is not going to have the same vitality of a person that is 18. Of course, you put him in the Olympics, they're not going to be able to perform on that physical level, but they're going to be much wiser. So the opus that an older vineyard will produce is far more complex and nuanced, primarily because the root system is a lot older and the plant can self-regulate. It has adapted to its surrounding and to the soil composition. And so typically it will produce dramatically less grapes per acre, but the quality will be far superior. And
Well,
the privilege in having this kind of vineyard is that when a vineyard is ungrafted, it can go to the distance. So typically, a vineyard with regular clones on some rootstock maybe lives between 20, 30, 40 years. An ungrafted vineyard can go up to 100 and plus years. So that's the privilege that we have.
Do you have to green harvest, pull leaves, do stuff like that?
No, we don't. We don't have a need to green harvesting. As you are showing in this picture, as you're looking at the sky, you notice there is not one single cloud. It's a bright blue sky, and we have a very pristine ecosystem in which the luminosity, so the intensity of the light, is very strong. So for us, ripening is not an issue. And when ripening is not an issue because the sun is so intense, so you have a lot of luminosity, you do not need to remove any leaves. And when a vineyard is so old, you have no need to green harvest because the grapes are naturally concentration. It's a natural concentration that the grape have because the yield is so low. It's a little bit like Yoda. He seems very small, but he's quite mighty and very wise.
62.95 is our price. I hope that's a good price for the wine. We are aggressive, but the wine's one of the top scoring wines in the world. It's showing beautifully. It's so there's like a wonderful balance of purity. It's not trying to be bold or too ripe or too big. some customers may like something that has more alcohol, more richness. There's a time and a place for every single wine, and I just love the way this one sits in the glass, the perfume, the balance, the mouthfeel. There's a little crunchy. There's some wonderful texture here, and it's just the everything you're making, I love, and I'm very happy to be, almost am like a SoCal ambassador for you guys because I root for you, and I'm excited to see where you're taking things. It's great to be on top and to lead, and that's what you're doing, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Ian. Likewise, we've been friends for a long time and it's been great. If you notice, also I wanted to touch on something. I don't know if you're still recording or not, but the wax, we've eliminated, we are in an effort to eliminate, to really slim down our petrochemical consumption on a yearly basis. Every year, we try to dispose of some elements that we're using that are part of the petrochemical equation. So we have removed all sorts of capsules from our bottle and replaced them by our own bee wax. We have
So that is Piero and Chisa del Rocchetta. He's talking about the top of the package. I got to visit the property and just a couple little personal photos. This is was the house we got to stay in. He had a little 4 bedroom house for visitors, and we got to drink all the different wines with our group, and they made some amazing local vegetables. This is the winery. And so when he talks about concrete, he made this to make amazing Pinot. He visited a lot of Pinot producers around the world and wanted to do something that really gave honor to the varietal and also created something very sustainable. Now, here's what you don't know unless you're watching this show. When Piero was building this facility, he was also in harvest, and there was a lot of things going on. It was very chaotic, and he fell from the top of one of these structures and broke his back and almost died. So he became incredibly sensitive to he had to take pain medication, all this medication and medicines and stuff like that. So his ethos really shot up. He wants to be so natural and so sensitive to the place because of his injuries and his accident. He's fully recovered now, but literally came very close to death. They had to airlift him out of there and get him to a really good hospital. And he spent like a year in the hospital. So it was a really bad accident. He does not talk about it very much. There's no article really about it, but it is a truth, and it's impacted his view of the world and his view of his winery. And he treats everybody like he wants them to stay around forever because it is just part of who he is now. He has so much appreciation. And this is a lineup tasting at the winery. Rocio runs the property, and she's been with him for a long time. And we got to taste all these great wines. Let's see if there's anything. Here's the tunnel that show his amphora down the side.
Sì, sì, hai dato chiuso le
His bottling line. This gentleman works for him in South America and also helps some wineries up and down in Napa, and was just a super uh, passionate friend for our group. As we were out in the vineyards looking at the different sites, really enjoyed our time there. We got to see the chickens, the biodynamic ranch, all the popular trees. There's the compost piles. There's the hut where they make the biodynamic teas and the dried flowers that go into those teas There are the teas. Those teas are sprayed around the vineyard along with buried cow horns that were stuffed with manure, and then the chickens do a lot of the work too. And so this whole encapsulated, uh, basically place that we is it's all to itself is really special. And he did it without much of any intervention or there wasn't like 15 wineries to show him the way down there. So it was really an incredible experience and a great honor to visit. Let's move on. I hope you guys enjoyed the wine. I made a lot of comments there. I'm using the chat room. So if you guys want to join me and with any comments, they're welcome. Let's go into wine number 3. The Lunita, by the way, $62 dollars and 95 cents. Wine number 3, Halocene. We've shown a couple of wines from Halocene through the years. This is a wine called Codex. I'm going to introduce you now to the winemaker, Todd Alexander. Zoom into wine. I get to introduce you to my friend Todd Alexander. He's up in Oregon. He's a tremendous winemaker. He's making some beautiful wines from all over the world now. And I have great access to the wines of Halocene. I've been a Halocene disciple for many years. I think I came on pretty early, Todd. And now see more of you. You're coming down doing some of our events, and I'm seeing all the press and stuff going on. Hey, man, it's great to have you on Zoom. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and thanks for all the support over the years. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Happy to be here.
I'm going to take us into the slideshow. We move through these slides pretty quickly, but want to just kind of, not that one, this one. I just want to kind of point out, Todd makes a couple different Pinot Noirs, a couple different Chardonnays from Oregon. This one's called Codex, and we carry, I think, 3 of them on the website currently. We're all in the 23 vintage at this time. And Todd, tell us about your thought process and maybe where this wine comes from and a little bit of info about Halocene and Codex.
Sure. Okay, so I started Holocene in 2015, just had a single wine, moved up north to the Pacific Northwest. I worked with a handful of other people making wine for others after being the winemaker at Bryant Family Vineyard in Napa. I knew I wanted to work with Oregon Pinot and ultimately Chardonnay because I always really liked wines from that region. And although I wasn't working for anyone making wine from that area, I started Holocene because I just wanted to get my hands on some Pinot and start working with that. So that was in 2015. Fast forward now, we'll step back a little bit, but I had just one wine. Then I had 2 Pinots while I was kind of figuring out, learning the valley. To present day now, we have 3 or 4 Pinots depending on the year, a couple of Chardonnays. We make about 1,000 cases, so it's still really small. But then we have our French project. So all told, we're probably around 2,000 cases. Actually, with the 2024 vintage of Holocene, I'll have around 1,300 cases of wine. Kind of steadily growing it slowly over time. I started working with a single vineyard in Yamhill Carlton. I branched out and worked with a site further south near Junction City. And I've subsequently worked with sites in Ribbon Ridge, Dundee Hills, Aola Amity Hills, and Chehalem Mountains, which kind of brings us around to the Codex wine. Codex is a blend of its barrel selection. So it's taken from, it's a few barrels, 2 or 3 barrels from each AVA that I kind of work with in a given year. Sometimes the vineyard sites change. There's a couple that haven't changed over time, but always wanting to pull some interesting barrels that work together well with different fruit characteristics and components in the wine that we think mesh well in a particular vintage. So that's where the genesis for Codex came from. Was most things are kind of single vineyard or at least single AVA. This is our kind of broader stroke Willamette Valley wine. We're trying to make something that we think is really a standout wine that shows just kind of some of the characteristics of the Willamette Valley. Everything in it are pretty close to it is whole cluster, 100% whole cluster. I started off making Pinot with all stemming. Over time, I've moved more and more into the whole cluster end of things. So I'm anywhere from 70 to 100% whole cluster in a given year. And I don't use much new oak, maybe up to 20%, generally speaking. Some things there's no new oak, some things might get a little bit more. But I really like the freshness, the energy, and the tension, the texture that the stems give. So fortunately, we've had some really great vintages. I have not had to just destem everything. We are really careful with everything we work with in the vineyard. So we don't generally have problems with rot and things like that. And everything's organically farmed. So that's another data point. Everything we work with is organic.
Yeah, there's a lot to appreciate the multi-vineyard approach, blending it together to make a AVA Willamette Valley.
Yeah.
And
Most of the time, like my background is a lot of single vineyard winemaking, so this is actually kind of a different direction for me to go in. I really do enjoy like tightening the screws on a certain particular site and seeing what that can do. But it's also interesting to try and challenging to try and make a compelling wine that's blended from different spots with intention every year.
is it kind of like the difference between making a symphony and a guitar solo?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yeah. I mean, you can have a really cool like guitar solo going on or a solo pianist or something, but sometimes it is interesting to throw some other stuff in there. It's kind of like stripped down versus like more produced, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So very good analogy.
This one got 95 points, and all of your wines in 23 seem to get between 95 and 100.
Yeah.
I think this wine is the kinder, gentler, uh, easier access
Yes.
wine as far as it's got a little softer, pretty elegance to it.
Definitely. That was the idea behind it. Yeah. A lot of that, like you have that blackberries, kind of dark fruit, violets. To me, there's licorice. You get some cedar on there, aromatics, a little bit of dried herbs. And it's interesting because you have the red fruit that comes from the more marine sedimentary soils in the valley, places like Yamhill Carlton, versus like some of the Chehalem mountain fruit I have is more volcanic soil, which is that more that darker fruit, violet. So there's kind of a lot of complexity there. Every time you kind of go back to it, you can get some of that dark fruit, brambly, dried herb kind of thing going on, and you can get more of the really pretty red fruit, broad, earthy, even kind of forest floor that you could kind of get in the marine sedimentary soils.
I do like Owen's mandarin orange zest. I get a little bit of
Yeah.
kiss of that too. And all these little nuances aren't because he's chopping up orange peels or anything like that.
Right.
But where would like a mandarin orange zest come from? Is that just from like the very thin skins of the Pinot Noir? Is that
Yeah, I tend to find that in the Pinot. Sometimes you get that in Grenache too,
yeah.
especially if it's a little bit juicier with thinner skin. Also, if you don't overpower these with oak, then those high-toned aromatics like dried orange peel or mandarin and white floral components are a lot more present in the wine versus if you use more new oak where you're going to get darker, more like torrefaction and things like that on the aromatics. I want to preserve the really beautiful high tone stuff. And our alcohol content, we're always between like 13 and 14%. That's kind of like where I like to pick the fruit. And that lends itself to some really pretty aromatics as well. The fruit doesn't go so far that it gets that kind of overripe, almost stewy, and kind of syrupy, uh, more dark cherry kind of thing. It's more bright, floral, and citrusy. at this stage. That's just a nice shot of the Willamette, kind of near Lungsgate Vineyard. Yeah.
At 55.95 on the wine. I think Todd's wines have a really nice shelf life potential. You know, what are you thinking on this wine, Todd? 5, 10, 15 years?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it could go a lot longer. One of the most important things is just storing it at the right temperature. So 55 to 60 degrees, if you can store it like that, it'll age nice and slowly. It could go 20 years, but like you pointed out earlier, it can be consumed now and really enjoyed. It's a young wine right now, but it's not something that's bruising and has a lot of oak that needs to integrate. So it's ready to go. But it'll continue to evolve for a long time, and we'll bottle the 24s later this summer. So there's still some 23 left, but not a lot. And all the wines I make, everything is kind of with the mindset that people are not cellaring wine typically as long as they used to. So I like to make wines that are open, drinkable soon, but also stuff that you can lay down. So I'm always trying to find that balance.
I love this wine. I love this brand. I'm excited for you, Todd. I hope
Thank you.
I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks when we come up to Oregon.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you in Oregon.
Sounds good.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
Bye. It's good to have friends in the business, and he is going to be a special dude. The wines are he is also a consulting winemaker for a number of other brands. He has a couple of projects in France, and I just really love his style. I hope you guys did as well. Any comments on that? You are a talkative group. I've got to shut you up now because we got more to get to. Let's get to it. The Holocene 55.95, by the way. Trip to Champagne. I want to remind you, November 1, November 7. I'm going to start losing rooms in April. So I got to hold on the rooms until April. I'd love to get you on board. And it's always fun to have a nice, interesting wine group of wine fans. That we just added Dom Perignon as a visit. So if you want to go to Champagne, we start in Paris, we transfer to Champagne, and we've got an incredible itinerary. And we always see just, we get incredible access. So it's my mission just to do as much travel as I humanly can while I can, and to really be able to meet all these great people. And our trips are a little different than others, and the type of people that, and the appearances, the winemakers, and what we get to do. It's pretty rare stuff, and I'm very fortunate to be able to share that with anybody that comes on our trips. Also got a really fun weekend. Almost everything this weekend sold out. I'm happy about that. We've got a fun program on Friday called Wine Friender, that if you want to bring a bottle, it's a bring a bottle social on Friday. You bring a bottle and you just tell a story about why you brought that bottle. You don't have to know anything about that bottle of wine, but the idea is that there's got to be something special that you have that you want to share with everybody, why it's of interest to you to share it. And then we'll deep dive into the wine. I'll figure out what the wine is. We'll pull it up on the internet if we don't know enough about it. But the type of wines people bring and the type of people that are coming, it's really fun. It's called Wine Friender. On Saturday, we got the wine, cheese, and chocolate. And we only have 2 tickets available for the 3:30. The 7 o'clock is sold out. Sunday, we have a great class at the Cheese Store in Beverly Hills, and that also filled up. So very, very good time for us this weekend anyway. Not every weekend, just this weekend. All right. Moving into the next week, next wine, Double O. This is super cool, guys. This is like the insider little bottle of juice here. I'm excited to introduce you to yet another great Zoom into Wine. We get to talk to some of the great industry experts, leaders in the business of wine. And I'm so excited to introduce you to Chris Herman. He is a wine industry attorney and helps with vast transactions worldwide in the wine industry. And then he got the bug to start his own wine brand with his wife. And now today is like one of the cult wines of Oregon. And we're so excited to have you here, Chris. Thank you for letting us talk about Double O wines and introducing our people to your incredible project.
Good morning, Ian. Yeah, I'm Chris Herman. I am sitting in Carlton, Oregon, a small village of a couple thousand people in the Willamette Valley, just south of Portland. My wife, Catherine, and I started the 00 Wine Project in 2015. It's just the two of us. We're a very lean, mean machine, but we're hyper-focused on making very exciting Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in the Willamette Valley. We also, by the way, produce wine in the Côte d'Or in France and have a winery just outside Beaune. And we also produce Blanc de Blanc champagne in Menil-sur-Orge in the Côte de Blanc, which is the heart of the fine champagne production area in France. So we have a three-legged stool. So we get a lot of airline miles going back and forth, but it's all in pursuit of making extraordinary Chardonnay and Pinot Noir based wines in the three greatest winemaking regions for this fruit in the world, the Willamette Valley, the Côte d'Or, and the Côte de Blanc. So why did we do it?
Chris, I gotta interject real quick before I forget. But you're working with a friend of mine in Champagne, Paul Lanoise.
Yes.
I love what he's doing, and
Yep.
I think you've got a great partner there. I'm super excited about tasting it, the bubble someday. We're going to take a group to Champagne in November, and I'm planning on including him in our activities. So
Fantastic. Well,
yeah,
he has a beautiful new tasting room, and you'll have a chance to taste our champagne when you're there as well. By the way, all of our wine in Champagne is produced under the 00 label. So you might ask, why did we do it? Why 00? The reason we did it is, as Ian mentioned, I've been involved as a lawyer and business advisor with the wine industry in Oregon and Europe and Asia since the early 1980s. So I've seen a lot of projects, a lot of great projects. And what we realized was that living in the Willamette Valley, primarily at that time, we were at a place where we had some of the greatest fruit on earth. And I was working with a client by the name of Dominique Lafont, who you may have heard of, one of the great winemakers, particularly white wine in Burgundy. And he was working on a project here in Oregon, and I was working with him as the attorney for the project. I asked him why he'd come to Oregon since he was such a famous guy based in Burgundy. He said, Chris, it's because the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grown in the Willamette Valley in Oregon is the highest quality fruit for those two varietals grown anywhere in the New World. So I listened to that. It took me a few years to digest it, but ultimately my father and Richard Herman and my wife Catherine and I decided to take a shot at producing wine using methods not used by anyone else in the Willamette Valley to see if we could produce a wine that basically expanded the boundaries of what could be coming out of the Willamette Valley. So that was 2015. Here we are 10 years later. We're now making about 5,000 cases of wine in Oregon, Burgundy, and Champagne. Our focus is primarily Chardonnay. As you can see on this slide, that's one of our Chardonnay bottles. But we also make Pinot Noir. We're very excited to make Pinot Noir. And in the realm of Pinot Noir, what we do, and you're going to be tasting our 2022 VGR. I'll talk a little bit more about the specific techniques that we use. But one of the important things to understand is that Oregon is a very northerly climate. It's definitely a cool climate, a little bit along the same lines as Burgundy. So we're about 500 miles north of Napa. We're about 1,000 miles north of Santa Barbara. So when you're drinking our wine and comparing it to California Pinots, key thing to keep in mind is that we're definitely very cool climate. And the reason that's important is in this very northerly cool climate, the grapes retain their natural acidity to an extent that provides the lift and the vitality. That's really the hallmark of Oregon Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. The Oregon wine industry started in the late 1960s. The focus initially, and really since that time, has been on Pinot Noir, which is why we make a Pinot Noir. You see on the slide here, the wine you're going to be tasting is called VGR. That stands for Very Good Red. The reason for that is having been a wine consumer, the kind of person Ian loves for many, many decades. I often would have a wine that I really enjoyed, and a couple days later, I could not remember the name of the wine. So Catherine and I decided that when we make a wine, our largest production on the red side, which is VGR, and on the white side, which is VGW, very good white, we were going to give the wines a name, an acronym that would be relatively simple to remember and would also stand out on the shelf in a wine shop or in a restaurant, again, making it easier for people to see what was our product. Why 00? We wanted to be, very focused on what we were making. So we make only two varietals, Pinot Noir, that's one of the zeros, Chardonnay, it's the other zero. And the reason for 0 is that in numerology, 0 is the symbol for potential. And the whole idea behind our project was to try to take this very fantastic fruit that we have in the Willamette Valley and produce it in ways that no one else was producing, to see if we could create a wine that really had extraordinary flavor, aromatic, and textural qualities that really had never been seen before in wines produced in this region. And so that was the genesis behind the project. The reason our label looks the way that it looks is because we have a winery in Burgundy, because we've spent a lot of time in Burgundy. As Ian knows, in the cellar, a lot of the Burgundian people keep their wine for several years in big metal bins. The cellars are very humid, and so they don't label the wines until they're ready to ship them for sale. So what they do is they take chalk and they will write on the bottle some sort of symbol indicating which vineyard it is and which vintage it is. And we really like the look of that. It's spare, it's clean, it's it's iconic. And so because we're sort of bridging the Willamette Valley and France, Burgundy in particular, we thought it would be exciting and appropriate and a good symbol of that connection to use a design which incorporated that Burgundian approach. So that's why we have it simple like this. That's why we have that sort of a rough outline. It's really intended to be reminiscent of a chalk mark on the bottle.
Chris, do you ever get any conversation about, 00 could also lean into the ideas of, low manipulation, zero manipulation, zero inputs, that type of a conversation?
Yes, it's really not the reason that we selected the name, but really all of those things also characterize our wine production style. And so we're, again, because it's just the two of us, Catherine and me, we have an assistant here in Oregon, I have an assistant in Burgundy, an assistant in Champagne. We're really totally hands-on. We do everything ourselves in a very small facility in Carleton, and then our own facility in Burgundy, and our own facility in Champagne. So we're working very closely in the vineyard. We're there for harvest. We do all of the production work ourselves at harvest. We pick, we sort, we crush, we press, we go into bottle. We're really there every step of the way because our commitment to our buyers is that you're going to get something that is really a handcraft. And when people talk about handcraft, I literally use my own hands to do all of that work. So it's the ultimate in handcraft. And on the Pinot Noir side, I think an example of our dedication to handcraft is the VGR wine that you're going to drink is made up of wines from several different vineyards, the Shea Vineyard, all the Willamette Valley, the Highland Vineyard, that's Hyland, the Richard Herman Vineyard, the Chehalem Mountain Vineyard, and Stardance. So it's a composition wine that is a blend from these different vineyards. The reason we do that is we have two main soil types in the Willamette Valley, volcanic and marine sedimentary. And so we pick the fruit from these different soil series because the volcanic soils tend to be much more nervy, tense, a lot of vitality that comes from the minerals in the volcanic soil. The Pinots from the sedimentary soils, and that would be, for example, the Chehalem Mountain and the Stardance, those are much sort of deeper, more profound wines. So we sort of call it the yin yang wine because we're taking Pinot Noir fruit from these two sort of fundamentally different soil sources in different regions. All of the all of the wine is coming either from the Eola Amity Hills or the Chehalem Mountains or McMinnville. So we're getting different sites, different elevations, different aspects. And so we're bringing this together as kind of an orchestral composition to give people a sense of kind of the, all aspects of the Willamette Valley wine. So there's a nice picture of the Willamette Valley. That's exactly the kind of terrain that we have. As I said, it's a cool climate. It's a northerly climate, which means we're relatively lower in alcohol. We really focus on finesse. And as I was saying before, an example of our handcraft.
The wine is extraordinary. We're going to taste it now with our audience. I'm going to get an email back to you after we're done. But the wine is beautiful. It is pretty. It is. It has got a tenderness to it. Fascinating. Definitely some unique ideas going on, and I think the results speak for themselves. So thank you, Chris, and
Welcome.
I look forward to seeing you again.
Yep. Same here, Ian. Take care. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So, my editor's not doesn't work for Spielberg. She is sharp with that editing button, but she also would try to keep it within a particular time frame. Otherwise, we'd be here till 9 o'clock. So there is a longer edit of that video on YouTube posted. You can see the entire discussion. So when you get a bottle of 00 VGR, you can watch that with him. But he's using terracotta. He's hand cutting each cluster. I didn't hear him say that. Maybe he was. I was typing. But he's hand cutting the berries off of each cluster and leaving the pip in the seed and then fermenting inside a terracotta, almost a carbonic maceration style. I think he may have said that, but it's really some unique ideas, but they're all kind of built on top of other ideas that others have had, and he's just doing it really well, getting some good press and making wines that are pretty exciting and like I shared with you, pretty hard to get. Maybe not as hard to get in the future, but this wine sells for $103, so it's not flying out anywhere super fast. But once people know what it is and they get a sense of it, that's right in the sweet spot for the collectors, and he's doing really well, doing really well. So that I only have a couple bottles of that left. I sold one, I think, even yesterday. So I think we're down to two or three. But if you want one, please do grab it. The next time I get the wine, it'll be a 23, and it's coming in sometime in the next week. So we'll see that. All right, 10 ninths. Now we've gone from South Africa to Patagonia to Oregon. And wanted to show you kind of the high and the low there with the Oregon. Not that $50 is cheap, but they're both. I mean, I love them both, and obviously very different styles, but within this realm of excellence that we're looking for. Now we've got a Santa Barbara ambassador, and this is a brand. I'm hoping that I'm the guy that gets to introduce you to this exciting project. 10 ninths. And of course, the winemaker. Sean, good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Let's talk about wine. We're tasting some of the great Pinot Noirs, and I picked your Radius 2021 to be included in the show. 6 great Pinots. We're going all over the world. You're representing Santa Rita Hills. I think it's a great story. I want our peeps to learn all about 10 ninths. I'm still learning about 10 ninths. So let's go into the slideshow and have you tell everybody what's going on and where it came from and all that good stuff. What do you got?
Well, 10 ninths represents our pursuit for more than what's expected. It was founded by my business partner, Michael Mente, myself, and a couple other friends, and we're just very passionate about wine. This was a COVID buy during 2021 where my buddy was just looking for a place to escape, and we came across the previous Hilliard Bruce estate, and he fell in love with the property and decided, hey, I'm gonna buy this in case we need to in case we need to retreat somewhere during all this madness. So that's kind of
What a
the
buy.
founding story. Yeah.
What a buy. The Hilliard Bruce estate was making crazy great wines. It's LEED certified.
Yes.
It's a horse ranch. You got 100 acres, right?
Yes. 101 acres, 21 acres of vineyard planted. Yeah.
You raise champion horses and miniature goats.
Yeah, we have mini donkeys there. We have quite a bit of Arabian horses. Nobody rides them or anything. They just live a good life on the property. So
That's awesome. Well, Santa Rita Hills is a beautiful spot. You just head out.
definitely.
You guys are
We are the northwesternmost edge of the AVA. We actually sit on the AVA line, the border line there. So
really?
yeah, so lots of coastal influence from where we're located.
We're out here towards Lompoc, really close.
Yes, very, very close.
Wow.
Very sandy terroir. So a lot of sand on our property, diatomaceous earth as well. But yeah, very interesting site.
Yeah, it's great. It's proven. And I was excited when I heard that it was Hillard Bruce before because I've tasted some of those wines off that property. They're magnificent. And uh, what's your idea with 10 nights? I mean, how's it all going to unfold going forward?
Well, we definitely, obviously we grow Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, but we've really been diving deep into our sparkling program lately and really trying to get that dial to a point where we can make world-class level sparkling here in California. So
Cool. That's a fun project. And
it is. Takes time though.
Yeah. Time is right.
Lots and lots of time, a lot of aging time and storing things away for many, many years. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've got a friend of ours, Frederick Amons, making the wine. He's a great consultant.
absolutely. Great winemaker he is, for sure.
We know his wife, Mary Lore, from her brand called Nidtis and her involvement with Philippe Melka. So you got a lot of expertise.
Yeah, so her wine is actually made on property as well. So
Cool. So are you doing a few different custom crush clients there?
it's just her and Alice from Amaviv Wine. So yeah,
All right.
it's a small tight knit family we have there.
Keeps it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And all the grapes are grown organic.
Oh.
Are you still like LEED certified and
We decided on not keeping the LEED certification, but we are all organic, actually beyond organic. We do practice a lot of biodynamic practices as well. Everything is estate grown. Yeah, we take really, really a lot of pride in the farming and the care for the property itself. We believe that great wine is made in the vineyard. So we really try not to do too much in the winery itself.
so the wine is the 2021. You've moved on to the 22 or 23.
23 vintage. Yeah.
Yeah. But we secured a chunk of 2021. I really fell in love with this wine quite a ways back when I first tasted it at our Stars of Pinot. And so we just took another swing at it, got some more wine in the store. And I think this wine's going to age gracefully, and that's what happens in the Santa Rita Hills. And I love where it's going. Are we looking at partial stem inclusion? How much wood? What do you got on this thing?
Partial stem inclusion, approximately, we eyeball it, so we don't weigh it exactly. But if we were to eyeball it, I'd say somewhere in the 25 to 30% range of stem inclusion on that particular vintage. Mostly neutral oak and a small percentage of new oak as well. Funny thing about that wine is when we first made it, it was not my favorite, but it became my favorite as it evolved in the bottle. So it really just goes to show, some of these wines, they just take time to mature to where, they want to show their best.
Yeah. That's often the case, especially when it's your wine. You want to love it from the beginning, but I don't know if it changes or we change, one of the two. But over time, these things, you come in touch with the character of the place and I think your wine has some very distinctive marks. I mean, first of all, Santa Rita Hills has that impression. You're working with some French guys and the French attitude with Mr. Amans, so they have a little bit of a delicate touch, and it allows everything to be revealed. And I love that notes here: tea leaves, blood orange, sweet black cherry, and I think it continues to add flesh. It's getting more voluminous over time. It's softening. There was a firmness and assertiveness in the beginning, and maybe that wasn't what you wanted to show, but I think that's a characteristic of 2021 as well. It just when the vintages are good and they're small and they're the teeny berries, they kind of want to take a while, and then when it's a warmer vintage, they get a little bit more excited, a little riper, a little popping out the gate a little earlier. This one's a little one for now or later. This you could definitely age this wine for years to come.
Agreed.
Beautiful scenery out there. Are you guys open for tastings? Do people make appointments? What do they do?
It would be by appointment only. Yeah, I mean, you just email us through the website and we can arrange a private tasting. But generally, we're not open to the public. So
Cool.
We definitely host private.
We'll forward any connection with our peeps here if they want to come see you.
Definitely.
See if it can work out. But it is a small brand, less than 1,000 cases right now, right, Charn?
Yes, yes.
And so, it's something that you won't see everywhere, but Charn's working to get it in the right spots and some great restaurants. Any restaurants we can go and support now?
You know what? I'd have to
Get back to me.
Yeah, I'd have to get back to you on that one, which ones.
Okay. Well, yeah, let us know, because I even like to put them into the description of the wine, and seen at certain restaurants and stuff like that.
Cool. Perfect. I'll
Yeah.
compile a little list for you then.
I think of our wine list on our website as kind of like the long tail. You go to a great dinner somewhere and you find something off the wine list that isn't, found at the grocery store, and you let the sommelier tell you the tale. Where are you going to go to get it? And some people will go to the winery, but we deliver for free here in Los Angeles, and we are trying to elevate as many good people as we can, and you're one of them. So we hope to be the ambassadors for you guys, and we'll come and see you in the next year. We're going to bring a group to Santa Barbara too, and we'll
Awesome.
make it a
Well,
stop.
we definitely appreciate the support you've given us for sure.
And reciprocal. We love having you at our events and our tasting, so thank you. And we appreciate your time today, and we'll get back to you with the results of tomorrow's tasting.
Sounds good.
Take care, man.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Super nice guy. Love working with him, and I just really love the sense of place behind that wine, the balance. I think it's a very good. I maybe use the word too often, but ambassador wine for Santa Rita Hills. They do make a higher tier selection also from their best barrels, but their vineyard is magnificent and it's in a really great spot. Some really good people have made wine off that property, so there's some very good references. The Almans family are really talented French winemakers, and they are making some really important wines. So some big things. Now, I realized going through the tasting, I'm showing stuff that I really like, and a lot of what I like is pretty restrained. But sometimes I like to get a little loud. And so the next wine it evokes that because the next wine is from a brand that hardly anybody's ever tasted before. You get some big scores and it's very special. And that's Maxim. Uh, or Maxime, and it is Maxim. I can't. He'll pronounce it correctly. He has a way of pronouncing it because it's his two kids, their names. And I didn't expect to get Sam to come and talk to us about this wine, but he did. So let me get you to the moment where I start because he did it today, and this is unedited. 1, 2, 3, and we're up. Sam Kaplan, great to see you. Connecting 1, 2, 3.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Ian. It's great to be here.
Sam is a very talented and accomplished winemaker, making wines at Arkenstone, Memento Mori, Van Gogh, Valle Valente. And we're going to talk about a wine that's a little closer to home with him today, Maxim. And Sam, let me get right into the slideshow unless you rock and roll.
That's great.
Let me share this. We'll get it over there. And bam.
There we are.
This is a spectacular Pinot Noir 2022 Silver Eagle, very special vineyard site. Maxim, Sam, go for it.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Ian. Maxim is really my wife Nancy and I's passion project coming from the Sonoma Coast. You know, my focus here with the other brands you mentioned is in the Napa Valley with, you know, Cabernet Sauvignon dominant wines. So Maxim really, we've always loved wines from the Sonoma Coast. So I worked years to get access into the Silver Eagle Vineyard and Ulysses Valdez, the UV Vineyard. So kind of what I thought were the most Grand Cru incredible sites out on the coast. So I worked about 3 years to get access to this fruit, and then finally, when the door opened, we rolled forward and created Maxim. Maxim is named after our two kids, Max and Emma, and we focus on really Grand Cru Pinot Noir and Chardonnay sites from the Sonoma Coast.
And that's what you make, right? Just Chardonnay and Pinot Noir?
Only Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, correct.
Cool. That gets to flex different muscles than you do in your day job, huh?
Exactly. It's a ton of fun. You know, they always say, you know, Pinot Noir is the toughest wine to make. I think there is some truth to that. Definitely in the farming, you know, when you're farming the Silver Eagle Vineyard that you're tasting is really just about 3-4 miles from Bodega Bay from the coast as the crow flies. So the farming is challenging out there.
Wow. Well, it must create some incredible fruit to work with because everything that comes out of this site from you and from other very accomplished winemakers is really special. So look for that Silver Eagle Vineyard. I think it is, as you said, a California Grand Cru site. And do you know anything about when was it planted?
That vineyard now is going on about 15 years old.
Okay.
So, there were a couple stages of planting with the different blocks, but it's really an established site. And the wines prove it. I mean, that close to the coast, the yields of production are always very low. So the fruit quality and intensity is just incredible. It's through the roof.
So this is 100% Pinot. Can you take us through like some of the things that you're doing to make it your wine? What is
Sure.
your process?
So the process for me is always about the vineyard. Actually, in 2021, my wife and I were able to purchase an estate property. So those wines are coming down the road. But our estate vineyard is now just next door to the Silver Eagle. It's on what's called Stoats Lane. So the winemaking for me with any site, Cabernet, Pinot, Chardonnay, it's really always about pulling the most you can out of the site and what the vintage delivers. So this Pinot Noir, I mean, it's full throttle in its aromatics and the black raspberries, the floral notes that jump out of the glass, but it's got intensity and really good acidity. So that's I typically do, for those that are kind of cued into the winemaking, it's usually about 6 to 8% whole cluster grapes that are added to the tank of Pinot Noir. And that really helps sort of lift aromatics and gives sort of another layer of complexity. And then it ages in French oak. Believe it or not, it's about, depending on the year, 60 to 70% new French oak for about 15 months in barrel. So all really tippity top, the best barrels you can buy. And the wine just, I mean, it just shows the site. It's incredible.
Now, these grapes probably, I'm imagining, Pinot can get really teeny.
Yeah.
Are we talking like caviar here? Is it like that small?
Yeah, so these are all sort of suitcase clones that came over from Burgundy. So they're these offshoots, from some of the top Grand Cru sites, and these clusters are tiny. I mean, I can't really show you, but they're really, they're little bitty clusters, and that's part of why they say, challenging, how challenging making Pinot Noir is. They're really, very fragile. They're harvested at night as cold as possible, and then brought right into the winery for gentle processing. So it's really it's a different animal than making, Cabernet, which is a much hardier, sturdier cluster.
We've pointed out to exotic cherry forest floor, almost an incense-like character that's evoking from the glass, a cool sea breeze, salinity. There's a richness, of depth, a denseness, a concentration without it being bitter, which I think is really the challenge for Pinot Noir, getting all that character and using the stem and all that stuff kind of sometimes makes you have to postpone enjoying a wine at this level, but not here. This is just really hedonistic, gorgeous, and yet it's so balanced at the same time, which is really magnificent at the scale that this is showing. And how much total wine are you making?
These are very limited bottlings, just probably 200 some cases. Yeah, they're everything. Each of the different sites that we make for Maxim are very limited in production.
Well, merchantofwine.com, we sell both the Chard and the Pinot. They are tremendous wines. Get your hands on some, and we're very honored to be able to carry the wines. And Sam, it's great to hear it from you. Thank you very much for your time.
You bet, Ian. Thanks so much for the support. Wonderful rating, and I love your warning down there at the bottom of your note. It's fantastic.
I put a little extra into it.
I love it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Sam. Fun stuff, fun stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. Pinot Noir can, range in different styles. We tasted a lot of different site-specific wines, and we tasted some really excellent examples. I hope I set you up well for that last one. Um, but it is, I think, this is the type of wine you could have over a multi-course meal and have something different with each one of these wines. I love Pinot Noir with red flesh fish. If I go out to a great sushi restaurant, I'm probably bringing a white wine, but if I'm bringing a red, it's going to be Pinot Noir. And usually I do bring two bottles, especially if there's two of us. Uh, so it is uh, I love this with salmon, with tuna, with the nori, anything that they're gonna put, a little sear on or anything like that. I love Pinot Noir with that, and all these would do that. So it's really fun to look at a varietal like this and go around the world and see different examples. Hope you guys enjoyed. We carry all these wines at the store. Would love to be your choice of wine merchant. And we thank you guys for supporting us so much. Um, our move in 2026 here is to really be aggressive online. Our prices, we we continue to try to sharpen our price. We'll also continue to work with really the better wines, the unique finds. And I want you to look at our in totality of our wine list, almost like a restaurant wine list, like you're going to a great restaurant and you want to see, something at every price. I want to have the very best $15 wines and, the sky's the limit. And uh I'm going to auctions now. I'm buying some older, rarer stuff, trying to flesh out the site. And I'm really having fun doing it. And I hope you guys are enjoying the Zooms. Our Zooms, we're doing a few less so that I can go and put time into producing videos with five, I was hoping for two winemakers, honestly, tonight. It all kind of happened last minute. Sam, we recorded today. But Maxim, sorry, how much is the cost of Maxim? Yeah, that's a good question. Let me see if I got that slide still in there because I cut that out of the video on accident. Sorry. $130. 130 is the number. And I know somebody that knows somebody. That's how I got this wine. It is I also carry the Shard because if you get in, you get both. They're both really good. Next Zoom, which I think is in 2 weeks, February. Dude, that date is wrong. That's today, isn't it? February 11th. 2 weeks from now, we will have gems of the Southern Hemisphere. And I don't know how many winemakers I'll be able to interview for this one, but I want to show you what we're tasting just because it's going to be different. I don't want to do the same stuff every time. And so I want to move things around. Um, Craggy Range has been one of the best-selling wines that we've had on the website. We're going to taste the new 24. We just upgraded this. This Zoom will reflect the fact that we're going to have the T-Rails. It's called VAT 1 Semillon, which sells for about $50 a bottle and is the quintessential Semillon of the world. We were out of stock. It just came back in. It's coming. It'll be here in time. It'll be that wine when we show the Zoom. This Craven producer is ridiculous. This wine is so good. Can't wait to share it with you. Pinot Gris with skin contact. Comes off a little orange. It's wild. He also makes some awesome Cinsault. He's imported by the Loire, the brand called Loire, Lerowy, Loire. They sell $10,000 bottles of Pinot, and this is their South African import. So really a cool little portfolio. And I loved meeting him. Maybe I can get him on the Zoom. I'll try. Elderton, just salt of the earth people, great wine. Barossa Shiraz will be the key. Love what they do at Elderton. It's on point. And one of my favorite brands in all of Australia is Yulumba. And we're going to try their signature. I believe it's 100% Cabernet. And 52 cab. That's right. 52 cab, 42 Shiraz. So, a really fun set of wines from down under, Southern Hemisphere. And we're really putting some work into our future Zooms. Go to Zoom into Wine and look at what we're doing. We got a white wine study coming up, Portugal, a real deep dive into Sonoma, a very focused tasting on Tuscany, and then I'm starting to put in some free events. The Tuscany event, by the way, is not free. We haven't priced it yet, but we will do this one for free. It's a complimentary session about how to build your wine collection. And love to have you join us for that discussion that night. I'll probably have a couple of experts joining me talking about that as well. Final notes. See here. There is still membership available, and if you would like to join us, it's not a Zoom into Wine membership anymore. It's a Merchant of Wine membership, and it's going to give you 10% off every Zoom, every wine, every day. And so you don't have to wait for a code. You'll have your own personal code, and you can even send gifts with it. You can do everything. My prices are already super tight. Okay. 10% is a lot off. And we're not going to do many sales this year. We're already in February, haven't done anything more than like a 3 or 5% offering. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing to the public. Um, we'll have some special little offers every once in a while, but the 10% thing will be saved for the members. And many of you on this Zoom, you'd be amazed at how much you spent last year. The 10% is less than what you spent with us, or $200 would be, that's $2,000. I'd say most of you spent 4, 5, $6,000 with us last year in buying wine. And so it could really pay for itself and then some. So please take advantage of it if it works for you, and join our membership. And we will look forward to seeing you on a Zoom near term. I've got my new Dodger hat. Dodger tickets went on sale today. I've got 3 games. I'm only going to buy 3 right now. But I went after the big Shohei bobblehead nights. You get the big bucks for those bobbleheads. And then I will be attending a lot of Monday night games because nobody goes to those, and I can get the great seats for very, very cheap. Any questions? I'll stick around. Otherwise, I'll thank you and say goodnight to everybody. But I'll stick around to anybody who wants to ask or say
Yeah,
anything.
great fun, Ian. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Brenda, Julie, Rachel's iPad.
Thanks so much.
Sandra, always good to see you. Natalie, thank you. Lisa, so I just go bye-bye. Wendy, thanks for everything. Lee Parks, hope you enjoyed. And we hope to see you all again. Any questions, let me know. Natalie, what was your favorite tonight?
Ooh, I liked 2 and 6.
Mm, Cool. Those are very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different, but both good. And I think because they were spaced out. Also, oh yeah, three. Yeah, I haven't heard of 00 wines. I would love to try that Chardonnay.
Yeah, maybe we can get some and use it in a Chardonnay program over the summer.
Yeah,
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 we got a couple of those coming down the pipe. So, yeah, I'm excited to taste. The only way I'm going to taste that wine is if I do a Zoom with it too, because they don't sample it, but gets
mm,
big scores and you know, yeah, I'm very curious.
yeah. You've got a good price on it too, because I mean, not that Vivino is the wine buying Bible, but they're selling it on there for $200. So
I'm telling you, these wines people will sell them for way more than because you only get an allocation, and so you can price it whatever you want.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Nat, and take care.
yeah, you too.